Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So a lot of you guys have asked me to make a labor and delivery story, and that's what this video is gonna be about. So on January of 2019, my boyfriend was currently working at McDonald's, and my contraction started on January 16. So my boyfriend usually used to get out of work like around 8, I would say, but that day he got out of work like at 10. When he got out of work, when he got home, he went to take a shower, and then he lay down in bed, and I needed to pee really badly, so I went to pee, and I felt like my belly dropped, like my baby dropped, and then I already knew what that meant, because I used to like search on Google all signs that you're gonna give birth and stuff like that, and the first thing that used to come up, it was like, oh, you feel like your baby dropped. So when I sat down on the toilet and my baby dropped. So I came to the room and I told my boyfriend, oh, I'm gonna give birth, like, and he was just like, oh, okay, like, you're not gonna give birth, you're lying. And then I went to my mother-in-law's room, and then she was like, oh, yeah, you might give birth, but we don't know, because one time we got so scared, because I used to like a little bit of water used to come out like every 5 minutes, and we went to emergency room, and we were like, oh, we think my mother-in-law was like, oh, I think she's gonna give birth, check her, and they were like, no, that's just normal, like, she's not gonna give birth. So then when I was actually giving birth, they didn't believe me until like my contractions started hurting really bad. And then I came to lay down on the bed, and my contractions started, and they weren't as bad because they were just starting, pero they were like, I never felt that pain before, so I was just like, this hurts a little bit, and it just started. So I was so scared, and then I was like 1 centimeter there. So yeah, it was 11 p.m. when my contractions started. So by 12 a.m. I was already like walking around the house, because my mother-in-law told me, oh, you need to walk, because if you don't walk, then you're gonna have to push a lot, because walking just helps to make a little bit of room for the baby to come out, so it will be easier for you to push. And then it was like my contractions by 1 a.m. were really bad. I mean, I thought they were really bad, so I started crying a lot. And then by 2 a.m. I called my mom. I'm like, Ma, you need to come over, because I feel like I'm gonna give birth today. So she came over, and by 3 a.m. I don't know if you're Hispanic, you know that whenever you're about to give birth, your grandmother or your mother, they should say, oh, you need to drink a ginger tea, because that helps with contractions. So my mother-in-law made me a ginger tea, and then she was just like, oh, drink it, it's gonna go away. So I tried to drink it. It was too bad. Like, I did not want to drink it. I did not drink it. So then my mom was just like, oh, let's keep walking around the house. So I kept walking around the house, And my boyfriend, he was sleeping because he was really tired from work. So my mom and my mother-in-law were like taking care of me by that there. And they made me walk around the house, and by 3:30 my mom was like, oh, let's just take you a bath because like you're really bad. I was crying, and she was like, let's take you a bath in hot water. So she took me a bath. While I was in the bath, she was like, oh, let's prepare your stuff, your hospital bag and the baby's hospital bag, because I think we're gonna have to go to the doctor because I was really bad already. So then she was like, oh, get out so we could, after she packed everything, she was like, oh, get out so we could go to a hospital, because I could tell, like, it hurts that you see how many centimeters you have. So my boyfriend, he woke up and he woke his brother up so he could take him so he could take us to the hospital. And then we got to the hospital, and they like, we were like, oh, my mother was like, oh, she's giving birth. So then they were like, only one person can come in with her to that room. So I'm like, oh, mommy, come with me. I told my mom to come with me because, to be honest, I wanted her to be there. So we went to a room, and my boyfriend and my mother-in-law stayed downstairs in the waiting room. And when I got there, the room was small, so that's why only one person could have come in with me. And by 6 a.m. One of the nurses came in, and she was like, oh, I can hear you crying a lot, like, let me just see how many centimeters you have. Three centimeters I had. 3 centimeters, and I was already crying. I was dying. I was telling my mom already, mommy, I'm gonna die. Like, I was telling my mom, like, oh, mami, me voy. I was like telling her, like, oh, I'm leaving, I'm just gonna die. So then she started crying. My mom started crying because she saw like the pain in me, like, so she started crying. And then the nurse was like, oh, there's nothing we could do, like, we cannot put the epidural right now, she's walk around the floor. So my mom made me walk around the floor, around the floor that I was. And then I lasted like 30 minutes walking because I wasn't focused on walking, like, I was just focused on how much it hurted. So then my mom took me to a room and she laid me down. And I read this before I was giving birth, but I never thought like this. I never thought it was real. I never thought it was true. Like, they say that whenever you're about to give birth or you're already having contractions, like, the baby pushes on your, like, it pushes on your bladder and pushes in everything. So you need to pee and you need to take it. So I went to a bathroom to pee. I went to a bathroom to take it like 100 times. And I was just like, oh my god, yo, like, I'm really about to die. So I would say like 7:30, the nurse came in my room and she was like, oh, we see that you're really bad, let me just check how many centimeters you have. So I was already in 5 centimeters. So she was like, I'm gonna talk to my boss and I'm gonna ask him if we could put the epidural already, because I see that you're crying and you're really bad. So then she lasted like 20 minutes, I'll say. She came back and then she was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take you upstairs and we're gonna put the epidural because we see that you're really bad and you're young, so we don't want, we don't want anything to happen to you. So we went downstairs. They got me a bigger room. My mother-in-law, my boyfriend came upstairs with us. We was just there for until like, I would say like 9:30. Yeah, and then she came in again and she was like, oh, we're gonna put the epidural now. You still have 5 centimeters, but where she's gonna put it. And then, mind you, when I came upstairs, I was throwing up. I felt like I was gonna faint. Because through my entire pregnancy, I had like really bad morning sickness. So I was throwing up, and she was like, yeah, we're just gonna put the epidural. And they put it. I took a nap after that. My mom ate, my boyfriend ate, my mother-in-law ate. Mind you, all this time I was crying. My boyfriend was crying on the phone too. Like, everybody was crying. My mother-in-law was crying. My mom was crying because like they saw how much in pain I was. So then they put the epidural by like 10. They were done. They were like, oh, your boyfriend and your mother-in-law need to get out if you want your mom to be here, because for the epidural only one person can be there with you. So then she was like, yeah, you need to they need to get out. They put the epidural on me. Then my boyfriend and my mother-in-law came to the room. After that, I took a nap. And I woke up like around 2 p.m. And then they was just checking, monitoring the baby and stuff. When it was like 4, when she told me, oh, you're like 7 centimeters, let's just wait until it's like 5 to see how many centimeters you have. So then they were like, so then they came back at 5. I would say like, yeah, 5 and or 4 or 4:30. And then she was like, I was already 10 centimeters, so she was like, oh, let's start putting you in position to get birth and stuff. Mind you, when they put the epidural on me, one side of my back did not take the epidural as much as the other one. So they give you like this little button that it's an IV that it has an amount of epidural that you could have each hour. I don't know if you understand that. Yeah, each hours. And I kept pressing it because this side was hurting more than this one. I did not feel this one at all, but I could feel this one. So it wasn't hurting as a lot, but I just wanted it to numb it. So I kept pressing it, and then yeah, back to what I was saying. By 5:20 we started, they put me to push, and then she was like, oh, we have to go, we have to leave and come back, because every time I try to push, the baby's heart will like stop. So we did that like, I would say like 3 times. They left and then came back, they left and they came back, trying to get me to push. The baby's heart was still stopping. They were by, I would say like by 5:30, no, 5:40, 5:45, she was just like, oh, okay, let's just do this. A lot of doctors came in because of what was happening with the baby. And then I pushed. She was like, whoa, like, it's crazy how bad you were with your contractions, but to push, you were just, I did that, like, I only pushed like 4 times, I'll say, and the baby was already out. He was born on January 17 at 6:09 p.m. And ¿qué fue? Ay, ay, ay.
Baby. Stimulating.
What happened, mi amor?
I'm bothering you.
Ay, Dios, cosa más linda. Ay, 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 ay.
This one's sucio. Let me change.
Ay, cosa más linda de mamá.
Le cogiste la carita.
Sí.
Yo no puedo.
Dale un chin para acá. Ay, Dios. Mira, mira, Yanni, mira. So yeah, the baby came out. We were all crying. My boyfriend was praying. My mom was crying. My mom was like, "Oh my God, he's so cute. He's so cute. He's so cute." I remember asking my mom when I was pushing, because my mom was the first one to like actually see his head. I asked my mommy, "Does he have hair? Does he have he has a lot of hair?" And I remember my mom saying, "No, he doesn't have a lot of hair. He just has a little bit right here." So then I saw him, and yeah, he was bald. He was a little bald baby, and he was really tiny, skinny. He was 6 ounces, and he was 6 pounds and 11 ounces. He was a really tiny baby. He still is for his age, but yeah. After that, mind you, my sister came, and when the baby was there, so they left her there in that room for about I would say like 11 that night. They took me down to another room because they needed that room for another patient. They took me down to another room. They were like, "Oh, if the room was like you had to share with somebody, with another patient, with another woman. If another woman comes, then your boyfriend gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to stay by yourself with the baby." So I was like, oh, I started crying when she told me that, because I didn't want him to leave. Didn't want to sleep by myself. And then nobody came that night. The next day, that night, my boyfriend, I told my boyfriend, "Oh, can you take the baby too?" They have like a little, I don't know what's it called, but they have like a little daycare where if you want to sleep and the baby's up, they could take care of him. Nurses could take care of him, and you could just go rest a little bit. So my boyfriend took him there for us to go to sleep. And then I couldn't sleep. I went to get him like 30 minutes of him taking it, and then the nurse told me, "Oh, but he just came." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I can't sleep. I want to carry him. I want to have him in my arms." So then my boyfriend, he said in a little couch that was there, he was carrying the baby, and he just started crying. I remember I started crying, and then he was just like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Like, we were just both talking. Like, it's crazy. Like, whenever you have a kid, the minute you have a kid, your life just changed. Like, it's not the same. We were so emotional. Then I fell asleep. He stayed with the baby. So he took him again to the thing. We fell asleep for around, I'll say, from like 3 a.m. to like 6 a.m. when she took the baby back. She was like, "Oh, the baby's hungry. You need to try to breastfeed him." And he was crying, but we were so tired. I was so tired that I fell asleep. The baby fell asleep too. I didn't hear him crying anymore. He fell asleep, and then I fell asleep, and then she came back like around 8 a.m. and she was like, "Oh, I told you the baby was hungry. You need to feed him." So then I put him in my breast, and I remember it hurted so bad. It hurt a lot. and my breast did not, like, nothing came out of it at all. So then my mom came like at 9 and at 9 a.m. and then she told me, oh, but tell them to give you a formula bottle, a little formula bottle. And then I told the nurse, oh, can you please give me a formula bottle because my baby's not, my breast, he can get nothing out of it. So she gave it to me. We gave him the formula. He drank it. I remember the formula bottle. It had 2 ounces, and my sister was there with me too. She was feeding the baby. Mind you, she was the first person to actually feed my baby. She gave him the formula, and I remember it was 2 ounces, and then it was like up to there. Like, he drank a little bit, and my sister was like, look, he drank, oh my god, he drank like half a bit. And then we were like scared, like, oh my god, he's probably so full. And then he was, she stopped giving him milk, and he started crying. So then I'm like, why is he crying if he should drink the whole, almost half of the bottle? And then one of the nurses came, and she was like, that only has 2 ounces. He needs to drink all of them. And we were just like, damn, like, that's how you know we never, like, had a baby like that in my family. Because we didn't know that little bottle only had 2 ounces. It was, like, funny. It was so funny, that moment. And then, after that, my mom, and my sister, my mom's boyfriend were there. We were all there. By, mind you, that day was January 18. So then we were all there. My boyfriend's brother came, my aunt came, two of my aunts came. We were all there. My family were there. So then yeah, we were all there. So the next day, January 19, it was my day to go home. And I remember there was this woman next to me. She came that day. She, like, it was really bad. Like, everybody had to, my family that were there, they came that morning. Again, they had to leave because that girl was really bad. So we packed everything. We went home. I took him home. I took him home, and there just started a whole new life, I'll say. And here he is, guys. Dale un beso. He's 16 months now. Dale un beso. He knows so much. And that's it for this story time, guys. Thank you for watching. He just wants to touch everything. Bye. See you in the next video.